Hello everyone. Good morning to all of you. Today I will resume my ongoing discussion rather, to this online video lecturing Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray. I've already completed up to 11th stanza and I will move from that portion. But before starting the discussion, let me recapitulate the earlier stanzas, that is 9th, 10th and 11th. What this text is actually? This text covers multiple themes. That's why this text is so much popular for the later generation of poets in English language particularly. It contains the theme of death, mortality. It contains romantic yearning for the simplicity, for the neglected village life, neglected country landscape, countries, people. It contains also the neoclassical vein of satire. In earlier 2 or 3 stanzas, Gray was actually clarifying that death is equal to everyone. These villagers who are dead now, they hold a tradition. The tradition is of neglected tradition. They are not ambitious. They didn't have ambition to make themselves glorified. They didn't have the proper memorials built in front of their graves. People don't pay proper tribute to these people after their death. But that doesn't mean anything to death. Death is equal to everyone, whether you are rich, whether you are poor. Nothing can bring back them from death to life. Let me resume the 12th stanza. Perhaps in this neglected spot is laid some heart once pregnant with celestial fire. Notice again the conjunctions of past and between past and present. Now they are dead. In this neglected spot, that is the churchyard, the spot is neglected, as well as in their past, the people who are lying dead in this spot, neglected spot, was once also they were neglected in the past. So laid means they were buried there. What is the subject of is laid? Some heart. Some heart. It's a part for the whole. The heart signifies the whole body. It's called synecdoche, rhetorically. So some heart is laid perhaps in this neglected spot, who once was pregnant. He's going back to the past, when they were alive. In this text, again and again, you will find this contrast between past and present. And who connect this past and present? These dead villagers. They connect the past and the present. In their past, they were full of potentialities. Pregnant means full of possibilities. With celestial fire, with divine inspiration. The word celestial comes from Latin celem. Celem means heaven. So today it connotes heavenly, divine. So perhaps in this spot is lying someone dead who once had full of divine inspiration within his heart. Perhaps some hands are there lying Here again, part for the whole, hence signify the whole bodies, the whole person. So those, that means who? Swayed, might have swayed. Go to the last section of this line. Who might have swayed the rod of empire. Might have. Possibility in the past. So, obviously, there are some people lying under this grave, some villagers, who might have swayed. Swayed means commanded. Commanded, wielded the rod of empire, that is rod of authority. So might have means they couldn't. Why they couldn't? Because of their fortune, because of their situation, circumstances. They could not fulfill their potentiality. You know that potentiality is one thing, and fulfilling and flourishing and developing that potentiality is one thing. And it depends a lot on your circumstance, on the situation of life, on the fortune to develop such potentiality. Many people in the world today, in the past, in the present, you know that have potentialities. But we can't fulfill that potentiality, develop, flourish that potentiality. Why? Because of fortune, situation. So these villagers were the victims of situation. That's why they are lying neglected. No memorial is built for them. They were not celebrated. But that doesn't mean that they were not full of celestial fire, or waked to ecstasy the living love. Perhaps there are some hearts, there are some hands, there are some people who might have should be a common modal construction also for the next verb, waked. So these people lying dead now might have in the past waked to ecstasy. Waked means became conscious to ecstasy, the living life. So waked the living life to ecstasy. What does it mean? Let me simplify the construction. These people had the potentiality to wake, means to, it can also mean to make someone inspiring. Here someone means something, this lyre, living lyre. To make the living lyre to ecstasy, it means to force the music instrument into ecstatic inspiration, into ecstatic music of inspiration. So what does it mean? These people had the potentiality to become a great musician. Not only a great musician, you know that lyre is connected with lyric poetry. So these people had the potentiality to become a great lyric poet. These people had the potentiality to become a ruler of the land, a politician. They could have commanded the rod of empire, means the rod of authority. So, in terms of politics, in terms of power, in terms of artistic potentiality, these people had that inspiration, celestial inspiration inside them. But situation, circumstances forced them not to be so. That's why they are lying neglected now. So we should at least be conscious about that. They were the victims of time, victims of fortune, victims of misfortune rather, not fortune, but misfortune. Okay, let me continue to the next stanza, that is 13th stanza. But knowledge to their eyes, her ample page, rich with the spoils of time, did never unroll. Knowledge. But knowledge did never unroll. Go to the second line. Knowledge did never unroll. Unrolling means not to reveal. To reveal, sorry. Unroll means to reveal the pages, open the pages of the book. So did never unroll means did never reveal. Did never open. Knowledge did never open. So it could also be passivized. That ample pages means the pages of the book. Ample means sufficient, profuse, in number. So the page of the book which contains knowledge, which is rich with the spoils of time. Rich means precious. Here knowledge is compared with something which is precious. So with the spoils of time means the knowledge, the experience. So knowledge never unrolled to their eyes a ample page, as if knowledge is personified as a book, and it never is opened to or in front of their eyes. And this knowledge is full of experience, full of precious materials of life. So spoils of time, these spatial materials of life were not given to them. So knowledge was not given to them. Why? Because they are simply illiterate. They are not so educated to read books, to have the fortune to read books and acquire knowledge. So they were unfortunate not to have such knowledge. Why? The question is why? Why they couldn't read books? Why they couldn't become literate? Why they couldn't become educated and have that precious knowledge? Why? Because, go to the next line, chill penury repressed their noble rage. Penury means extreme poverty. They were extremely poor. Chill means extreme, something which is terrifying. They were terrifyingly poor. And because of their poverty, they had to repress, that is, suppress their noble rage. They had the noble rage, the noble passion and inspiration and enthusiasm for learning. But because of their poverty, they couldn't read. They couldn't acquire that knowledge, the precious knowledge. And froze the genial current of the soul. What is the subject of the verb froze? Chill penury. This poverty froze the genial current. Genial means, actually it comes from the Latin word genialis. Genialis actually meant something which is creative, productive. But later, after 18th century or 19th century, I think it changed its meaning slightly. It became cheerful. But originally it meant creative. But I think both the meaning would be applicable. Cheerful and also creative, productive. So they had in the past, when they were alive, the cheerful, productive, creative flow. Current means flow of the soul. That is, in their mind, in their heart, they had that creative inspiration, creative flow of thoughts. But that current was frozen. It's a metaphor of winter. You know that in European countries, even the lakes and the rivers often are frozen during winter. Here, poverty is like winter, like ice. It froze the current, the genial current. The river which is full of life, the current which is full of life was frozen means forced to die. Forced to die. What? For the what? Because of their poverty. So the central idea of the stanza is that they had the potentiality, they had the divine inspiration within them. They might have become a great poet, lyric poet, might have become a powerful political leader, but they couldn't. Why? Because of the situation, because of their poverty. They couldn't be educated, literate, acquire knowledge, and flourish their potentialities. Rather, their poverty repressed their noble passion, their noble inspiration within them, and froze and killed and destroyed whatever genial spirit, creative spirit, or cheerful spirit they had within them. So, again, Gray wants to say that these people who are now dead, buried under this grave, they were full of potentialities. Only thing is that they couldn't flourish them because of their poverty. I think up to this you are quite clear about what these lines contain. Let me move to the next stanza. Full many a gem of purest ray serene. Against a Latin construction, ray serene. The adjective should have come earlier. Serene ray. Serene means calm, unruffled, peaceful. How can ray be peaceful? Ray means, reflection, some kind of brightness. Now, you know that a gem often reflects light, and we call it a ray. So, full many a gem, it's hyperbaton, it's called hyperbaton. In poetry, you'll find it is very normal to use such abnormal or inverted construction, syntactical construction in poetry. It is called hyperbaton. So, full many a gem, full of purest serene ray. The word ray connects to two adjectives, purest and serene. So this gem contains pure, bright ray, which is also calm, peaceful. The dark, unfathomed caves of ocean bare. You may think that where the poet is leading us. Is he digressing from the main subject? No. He's actually referring to a metaphor. That our ocean contains unfathomable, immeasurable masses of water and depth. You can measure the depth of the caves of ocean. So, dark, unfathomed caves, as if this ocean contains immeasurable dark caves of masses of water. And these caves are unfathomable, are immeasurable and dark. Obviously, they lack the light, that is the sun rays. So that's why they are dark. Now, bare, the word bare is verb of this phrase, the dark, unfathomed caves of ocean bare. Bare what? Revert to the previous line. Bare means carry or contain. Many a gem of purest ray, purest and serene ray. So these ocean, under this ocean you will find many precious stones, full of stones, precious stones. They were bright, they were shining, they were dazzling, they were pure, but they were inside the dark caves under this ocean, which can be measured. Full many a flower is born to blush unseen, and waste its sweetness on the desert air. Now, from the ocean, the poet is taking us to desert. In the desert, we don't expect flower. But that doesn't mean that desert doesn't contain any flower. Yeah, in fact, there may be flowers. So many a flower are there. The flower is born to blush unseen. The flower is metaphorically compared with a beautiful lady, beautiful girl, beautiful maiden. So many flowers are born to blush unseen. Unseen means no one will notice them because they are in the desert. But they are beautiful. They blush and waste its sweetness. Those flowers waste their own sweetness, own sweet fragrance on the desert air. There is no one to smell their fragrance, to enjoy their fragrance and beauty. Actually, what Gray wants to say that as the ocean, which is a neglected spot, unfathomable for us, for human beings, but that doesn't mean that those oceans, caves, the depth of the ocean doesn't contain pure gem. They contain pure gems, many gems, multitude of gems they contain. It is we who are neglecting those gems. Why? Because they are suppressed, they are under the caves of the ocean. Similarly, these people are in these neglected villages. They are neglected by the city people, the people of London, the people of Dublin. They neglect these villagers who are like pure gems. So these pure gems and beautiful flowers are unnoticed by us, by the civilization based on city, based on London, based on cities like Dublin, London. But we neglect them. Just like those purest gems under the caves and those flowers in the desert. So these flowers, beautiful flowers, and these stones, purest gem, refer to not only those who are dead in this village, but also those who are alive, still alive. Well, it is us who actually neglect these villagers who had the potentiality like those purest gem, like those desert flower. They blush unseen, they are unnoticed by us, they are neglected by us. So these stanzas seems to be away from this landscape of the village churchyard, but it quite perfectly